There's a saying that those who fail to plan actually plan to fail. And if you're an employer, even if you're an employer of a small company, such as you're a sole director of your own small limited company, then one of the things that you need to bear in mind is that if you run yourself a payroll, then you will have to make sure that you are compliant with the forthcoming PAYE or real-time information. Now, what this means for you as an employer is that within a certain period of time, you need to make sure you are fully compliant. And when you run that payroll software, what happens is, besides the traditional payslip that you would normally produce, it will not only send to the HM Revenue Customs the traditional sort of information that you would see, the gross pay, the PAYE, the national insurance, it will also transmit certain other information. It will send, for instance, the employee's full official name. So not the name they're known as. So if they're known by the middle name, you need to make sure it's in their full official name in the right order. That it will also be the PAYE code you're currently using, so that it can be checked and verified, the employee's national insurance number, and their date of birth, and surprisingly, the hours they've worked for that payroll month. Now, because of this new change, you need to make sure that you're fully compliant by the time the system goes live, because there is no fallback with HM Revenue and Customs. One of the other changes is that you will no longer need to e-file certain documents. For instance, the P45 when a new employee turns up. Traditionally in the past, you've e-filed the P45 Part 3 or a P46 if they turned up without one. And if you have an employee leaving, what you would then also send is that you will send off the P45 Part 1. You won't need to do that anymore, but you will need to give the rest of the P45 to the employee. They'll need to take that to their new employer. And of course the end-of-year reruns, the P35s, the P14, the P38A perhaps, you won't need to run those anymore at the year end, but you will still need to print off and hand to the employee the P60, because they'll need that for their personal records. Now, one of the new changes you really do need to be aware of is if you have any employees who are over 16 years of age, and perhaps that you don't pay them high enough salary so that they're below the national insurance lower earnings level, you will now need to make sure they go onto your payroll software. What that will also mean, therefore, is that you need to now start thinking about those that you traditionally didn't put on the P35, such as your temporary staff, your casual staff, or your Saturday help, and perhaps your cleaner, because their salaries were below the national insurance lower earnings level. They now need to go on. So remember, this goes live on the 6th of April 2013. What's important for you to remember, therefore, if you fail to plan now, you really are planning to fail for PAYE real-time information. Now in part 2, we'll be able to look and reviewing some other aspects of what RTI means for you as an employer.